Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this, he's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to the Smash Factor, week 15 on the 2022-2023 PGA Tour, the Genesis Invitational, Tigers tournament. Big week last week as far as the field and everything. We go right back to it with another elevated event. This one was always kind of, a little bit stronger, especially since Tiger got involved, and it was an invitational. Still is, but it was 120 guys only. I think it's up to 132 now with the kind of the mix elevated or whatever. But Tiger's back. We know that. We'll get into that a little bit later. Strong field again. A lot of options, a lot of sometimes sticker shock, sometimes it's just going to be interesting to go through and do a lot of back testing as well to see people's reactions, because we don't normally see, sometimes around the majors and stuff, but back to back, these kind of consecutive weeks where the recency bias could be there. You still got pretty much same prices around the board. There's a few up, few down. Is it, but old ways, 4 or 5 years ago, we would have said, you could go guys that just missed a Cantley, for instance, something like that. Don't know if that's the case as much anymore. People getting sharper, more information out there, all that, where they just go, it's just 1 week. You can write that off. But because you have such a strong field, if you go with a guy that just missed a cut or didn't look good, Cam Young made the cut barely, didn't look good at all on the weekend, but he's surrounded around some really good people too. So I'll be interested to kind of deep dive into I listen as much as I can, especially today. It's Tuesday morning for me. I'll have this out probably be lunchtime by the time you guys hear it. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Hopefully you enjoy it with your significant other this evening. Valentine's Day a little different one, especially when it's on a weekday, and you got kids. Like, it just not quite the same as it, when you're single or if you're married with no kids, stuff like that. Plus we just had so much going on in the last few weeks. Father-in-law's funeral was this Saturday, so a lot going on in our household, but you'll hopefully enjoy your Tuesday. Looking forward to it. Millie Maker, I was a little disappointed they didn't do a lower Millie Maker also. First time they've ever done a Millie Maker outside of TPC or the majors, so that's exciting. Maybe they had one for the FedEx Cup. I don't remember, though, but first time here for sure. And I don't know if that's signaling potentially you get some kind of Millie Maker not really. They didn't have one last week either, but the Super Bowl was last week, so I get why it was a little bit different. But a nice, the $20 is $300K, the first 1.2 million pot, nice structure, nice payouts. The $5 is nice. They got the micros going this week. Good week to test out MME stuff if you're not an MME player. You may, depending on your accessibility, I can't really see stuff below most of the time $3, $4. I don't see it, but that penny stuff and the dime stuff. I know people go, it's just a penny, but if you're wanting to learn and you really don't, you still want to do what you normally do. When they have this micro week, even in other sports, like sometimes I'll do stuff I normally wouldn't do, just because it's a low entry, some higher price stuff. They're boosting it up, to test. How would I do if I try to create a 20 max this week, strong field? You may learn some stuff that pays off down the road at the Players, the Masters, where we know there's going to be big pots and potentially, Millie Maker, stuff like that. So I would take a look at contests. I always put out my Tuesday night thoughts. Now in Slack, I've been doing that all season. Most of the time it's pretty much the same, but we got a bunch more contests this week. So I'll tweak those on what I suggest based on your bankroll. I give about 3 or 4 different bankroll sizes on where I would be looking this week. So I'll do that late tonight. Tuesday, I'll be out most of the day, real job, that kind of stuff. And then But I get a lot of windshield time at times, so I get to digest a bunch of podcasts. I'm interested to see where everybody goes, especially up top with some of the big decisions. Is there going to be some chalk down below? Is it going to be pretty flat like it was last week? Had a tremendous ownership projection week again. So I'm excited for it. We'll wrap up last week real quick, then we'll get through this. DFS was a struggle for me, and not by much. I still got some back. I think I got about 45% back or something like that. But I had 4 guys miss it right on that +1. It was going back there late. Well, I guess that'd be Saturday morning because we had all the delays and stuff. Yeah, the +1 was brutal. If it had got plus, because Cantley's there. I think Norn was there. I mean, a lot of not only guys, particular for me, but some pretty core guys. So Cantley I was pretty strong on last week. Has a few runners there on the weekend, but nothing crazy. Didn't play as much showdown as normal, just with everything going on personally. And then, I knew I was going to go a little bit bigger on Super Bowl. Had a great Super Bowl, was really looking good until about the last 4 minutes, but still good profit there. Yeah, so, I mean, it was just one of those weeks where you're so close, right? It's just you relook at it, you go, well, this breaks this way, that way. Had Scheffler, had a ton of Scheffler, liked him. But I didn't hate it overall. I liked the event. I thought it was a good event. I'm interested to kind of see hindsight when we look back at all these Elevate events and how the fields look and how they performed. And is there a certain strategy that starts to stick out? Are there guys that get a little bit squeezed underpriced where they really shouldn't be because of the such elevated field? Things like that will be interesting to see. Normally we just had the majors, right? And those are so hard to get into in general. And the Elevate events are too. But it's so spread out. It's so, it's 4 times a year. Maybe you throw the players in there. Now you kind of get whatever we're talking about, a good sample size of a lot of guys playing together, which is what the PGA Tour wanted, obviously, to combat some of the live stuff. But it'll be interesting to kind of see how that looks, as we keep going down the bill. We'll keep grinding and getting better. Betting, I have not done the betting recap yet. I was nonstop yesterday. We had the Scheffler Eagles 28-1. So when Scheffler won, I posted on the article that we hedged with the Chiefs money line because the money line was like +100. We don't want to lose money in that situation, so we hedged a little bit there. Would have liked the Eagles to win. Great game, a little bit controversial ending, but is what it is. The Eagles still had chances to win. They could have kept them. They could have won that game regardless of the holding or not. But great game, exciting Super Bowl together. Made money on the prop bet sheet. I think 1 year in the last 9, I have not profited on prop sheet. So we made money there. We had the original 3-star Eagles bet, so that was also part of the hedge deal with the Chiefs, was because now we got the Eagles 28-1 and a 3-star that I released, upon the line dropping right after the NFC AFC Championship game. So hedged a little bit there. I didn't get a lot of matchups last week because of the way when those rounds start wrapping over like that, the books just don't have time to get matchups out. But I'll get all that updated. And I'll tell you how we finished tomorrow on the Final Thoughts pod. Some shout outs. DT Nichols 83 gets his first ever 555 ticket. Gore 49er turns $51 into $1,300. That includes a 555 ticket. Kendo VT killed it on the cash. You can go check out his pod too. I think he went 5-6. I know he's flirting with 6-6, but at least 5-6. 3 were up there in the top 20. So good job by our boy Kenny Kim. He'll be on E9 tomorrow with me and every elevated event this year, plus majors. Justin Sullivan, he's going for he's in his first ever big milli maker. He won a 4444 ticket. So I've been chatting with him a little bit back and forth. I'm gonna try to get in it. I played I don't play a lot of NBA, but I've been working, fine-tuning it a little bit. And I played Q last night, and I got second place, barely. Needed a big game by Dame to get it. I got the big first half and a little bit of the third. The problem was the blowout kind of hurt, so I finished second there. But I'm not going to buy that. It's 50% the first, $1 million, I think, $2 million pot. But if you get a ticket like that, for low entry, that's great. So good luck to him this week. Hopefully he ships $1 million with that. If you'd like to join the community right now, smash 20% off any package on the site, content or full site. We got weekly, monthly, annual. Use that coupon. You can get as cheap as $12 a month. That's when you annualize the price for the annual, or $23 a month for the full site, which includes lineup builder, tools, optimizer, football, and golf. Obviously, the big update to the PGA site last week caused some people some headaches, including us. Luckily, we were already in. We've been rebuilding our new golf tools, coming out soon. Going to be bumped back a little bit now due to some of the stuff the PGA did, but we're not as bad off. So we that'll be coming. Can't wait for it. It'll be awesome. Some of the live leaderboard stuff was broken down, things like that. But looking forward to the whole season, the players, a lot of golf focus this year. I think it's gonna be an awesome year for us. Rate and review us on iTunes. I'll be doing some giveaways, definitely for the players, and then we'll be announcing our March to the Masters promo probably here in a couple weeks as well. Anytime I do all that, that's where I go for my free giveaways. Subscribe and like on YouTube. In the comment section, tell me your favorite 9K play this week. A little bit different payout structure. They tweaked it a little bit this week. Or not payout structure, pricing. Last week, I think we had 14 guys, 9K and above. This week, only 11. So spread out a little bit more. But tell me your favorite 9K range there. What is there? 7 to choose from. Listener League is up. It is in the description. 300 this week. We're making it bigger. They're listening. We keep filling it. They'll keep making it bigger. Let's get it knocked out real quick. Fill it up quicker. We can get big. Try to get it pretty deal. I like to get to like 500 by the players, and then shoot back for maybe that 750 like we did last year for the Masters. But jump in there. So it's a bigger pot, bigger pool, flat payouts, 3 max only. Link is in the description. Last week's winner, Mutwee, 518 points. He had Scheffler, Spieth, Lee, Cage Lee, Harmon, and Stallings. Pretty solid lineup across the board. Spieth was the one that I really didn't get to, and Kenny and I talked about it on E9 even. He really liked him, especially low owned. And I talked about it. You can't get a little bit of everybody, or you start spreading your stuff out too thin. Man, he's one I wish I would have got a little sprinkle of, but great lineup. He has already accepted the invite to the Listener League Tournament of Champions at the end of the year. We are, of course, at the Riv Tigers event. Normally 120 guys, like I said. I think it's 132 is what they're going with this year, or with the elevated type situation. Is the tops. I'll double check that, but somewhere right around there. Still a little bit better, odds to make the cut per se. Still T65 and ties. Par 71, 7,350, 4 par 3s, 3 par 5s. There is that, I think number 10, potential par 4 that's drivable. Always one of the toughest tests on tour. But most of the players, but a lot of them really like this course. Good challenge that, they all rated high. Fairways tough to hit. Kakua rough and fairways. That grass can be sticky, especially chipping, stuff like that. POA greens, quick. A little bit of rain. Obviously, they've had a lot of rain year to date here in this area, and then even some today. I think there's some today too. A little bit yesterday. But as far as the tournament goes, I guess what we'll have to listen to, maybe some pressers or stuff like that, is do we think it's softer than normal, which will just impact rolling out and the fairways, stuff like that. Only thing I see, there's no rain or anything in the forecast for the actual tournament. Just some chilly mornings, so nothing to get you off anybody, but definitely want to see, for showdown maybe, because you'd have to outweigh. You get fresh POA greens, or do you want a little bit warmer temperatures type situation? So, again, most of the time for me, it's going to be that's a showdown deal. I don't see anything right now that's wave stacking or anything to that extent. I was pulling up the fresh just to see if they were getting any rain today. No, they got a lot of winds though, which will probably they got 3 gale warnings right now. So 20, 30 mile an hour gust. That'll help dry out what they have had. But then after that, the rest of the week, 61 sunny, 62, 64, 65 winds, you're steady 5 to 10 almost every day. You could have some a little bit of spikes, but I just don't see anything right now weather-wise that I'd be paying attention to when it comes to stacks. Cut, I'm going to go around even +1. That's probably that's around where it normally ends up. Winner, probably 13, 14. Maybe could be a little lower just with the strength of the field. But again, we always get a pretty decent strength here. Neiman kind of, I don't want to say boat race, but, you know, he led wire to wire last year. We had the winning ticket. He won by 2 strokes over Cam Young and Morikawa. He shot 19 under, but before that, 12, 11, 14, 12. DJ won by 5 strokes and shot 17 under. So it kind of tells you that, I mean, you get to 10 under, you're in the ball game. I'm going to think 13, 14, somewhere around there is what I think. Past winners, Neiman, Homa, Scott, Bubba 3 times, Scott twice, DJ, Bubba, Mickelson twice, some runner-ups, Bradley, DJ, Scott, Thomas Peters, Finau, you get a Kevin Na in there. So, I mean, a lot of big, you know, strong guys off the tee. Cam Young last year. But there's an occasional that kind of sneak in there, and you can get around this a little bit different way. I would say the majority seem to be, you know, great drivers of the ball, but that's not the only way you can get there. Key stats I'm looking at: great drives, opportunities inside 18 feet, stroke gains around the green, par 5 DK scoring, stroke gain ball striking, and good approach. Then, of course, you know, course history, recent form, putting, things like that are always in there. 28 guys have not played this since 2017, so the majority have, you know, well over 100, have at least seen it once since 2017. Salary ranges: 4 in the 10K, 7 in the 9K, 11 in the 8K, 36 in the 7K, 71 in the 6K. So, you know, was that 22 guys only from 8,000 and above? You know, then 7's a little bit bigger than obviously 6. You know, is not crazy. I mean, we've seen it at 90 before, but obviously that's probably a full field. But definitely comes down to kind of how you want to play the top of the board, mixing in the 7s, which ones you like, things like that. Sweet 16, 9K and above. The one thing, a couple things about this week, maybe a little bit different than last week, is, you know, a little bit tougher conditions. I'll be looking at some bogey avoidance stuff when we do deep dives tonight. Finishing positions will matter a little more. They're not going to be the end-all, be-all, but your majority of your field are going to be single digits under par. If I can pull it real quick, I had it pulled up yesterday. Oh, the old news site. I saw a lot of, everybody had their opinion on it. I don't really mind one way or the other. Some of the things that background type stuff was, you know, is you know, work to do, but here we go. Because I want to say, even last year where you get Neiman 19, I mean, a top 10, I think you were definitely single digit. Normally I pop this up real quick, but they had the way going back to the old ones are a little bit different on the PGA Tour website. All right, here we go. Genesis last year, and that's why, I mean, you're not going to get as many bonuses, streaks, things like that. Still could get some eagles, that kind of scoring. Yeah, so 10th last year is -10. And last year was probably one of the better scoring overall we've seen here. I mean, you shoot 7, 8 under last year, you're top 20. So while scoring will matter for sure, those finish positions in a week like this definitely matters. What does that mean? I don't know that enough people, when they look at all, there are certain guys and certain ways I build differently when I think, all right, I want to get as many top 25 guys potential in my pool that I think can get up there. Or you know, a year ago it would have been like a Cam Davis who can finish 40th, but he outscores a lot. He gets a lot of par 5s, eagles, stuff like that. Those kind of guys can come into play and not they'll outdo that finishing position deal. But, you know, a week like this where you're going to see a lot of people 6, 7, 8, 9 under, you know, a lot of times those finishing points are just that much more of the total points for the player that it matters a little bit more. It's not the end all be all, but it's just something to pay attention to. Same format for me, Sweet 16. I'll give you 3 from each salary range: a bubble boy, fade of the week, sleeper of the week, gut filled plays, then betting top 5 that pop, and 2 long shots provided by Underdog and Prize Picks. One and done preliminary thoughts, and then we'll get out of here. Be back tomorrow for final thoughts, and then tomorrow night the live premium chat with Kenny Kim on E9. 9K and above. So I like Finau. I really right now, and I've listened to part of one pod so far, so I hadn't listened to much at all. To get industry vibes, stuff like that, read articles, stuff like that. I still think when I'm looking through everything, I think up top's going to be fairly spread out. Now we'll have the 2 or 3 guys just like we did last week. They're going to be that because you just can't play them all, right? So not a lot of people, some people make mistakes when they try to do ownership projections is they don't mathematically run the algorithms and simulate or whatever to go, does this mathematically work to have this ownership with this much salary in total? And you have to bump someone down. You just have to. So right now I think it's going to be fairly spread, especially 9K, 10K for the most part. I think it's going to be, probably play the guys you want. And so like Finau, playing really good right now. Another top 15 last week. He missed a cut in 2017 here and then sits in a second, a 15th, a 51st, a second, a 33. So second in recent form, 12th in stats, stats look great. Again, the only thing that'll probably keep me off of him, he is a name that at times can get pretty popular, right? And so if for some reason in that range he was standing out above everybody else, maybe I get off of him. But, 16th, 9th, 14th, his first 3 out this year. There's just not much I don't like about him at all, especially the way he's played here. He's got 2 top 2s, a 15th. Yeah, he's got some years, 51st, 33rd, that weren't the best, but I think he's playing some of his best golf right now. And so I think he's more likely to be sitting there at a chance for that top 10 next week than one of those top 30, 40 type situations. Hopefully where he's priced at can be a little bit of a squeeze. But I do think he could be popular because I think people could talk themselves off Sung Jae, maybe talk themselves off Homa, although I think he's getting more popular, and his history here will give him some. Xander's going to be popular at 99. So be interesting to see how that shakes out. Finau's my favorite kind of right there. Cantley, 9K. I'll go back there. I'll eat that. I don't think it's going to be a flop lag per se, just because of his history here. He's talked about in the past how much he likes this place. A 4th, a 15th, a 17th, a 15th, and then a 33rd last year like Finau. 26th at Amex. He misses the cut on the number last week. I hope that keeps his ownership down. Burn some people, that type of situation. But the 9K price is great. So he's down. I think he was 95 or 9,700 last week. And I like the 9K over the 8,900. I think it could help just a tad keep that ownership down some. 10th in opportunities inside 18 feet, 11th in par 5 DK, 14th in ball striking, 19th in putting, 5th in course fit. Just so much I like about him. And I think for his upside here and where his game can be, I think he's underpriced at 9K. And so I like him a lot this week. The next 3 are kind of all tossed up in there, and you can split hairs. And I think it's Rory, Scheffler, Rahm. I went with Rory. I personally don't think he plays last week if it wasn't an elevated. He's already missed one, right? So he had to. I don't think that's his jive. Just listen to his. When I went on live with Kenny Kim on E9, that's one thing I told him. I loved Rory last week. I just thought, man, this is going to be a good spot. People were kind of off of it. Then I listened to his presser, and I was like, boy, he doesn't seem too fired up. But he made the cut. Even in all that, he made the cut, and he finished 32nd, right? So now he comes to a place he loves, a 20th, a 4th, a 5th, a 10th. One miscut in there. Number 2 in stats, 8 in course fit, 30th in putting, number 1 in recent form for me. I'll go back to him. I don't think he's going to get much ownership discount. I hope he doesn't get super talked up. I just wonder how much people will factor the $600 difference between Rory and Rahm. And we saw last week, Rahm and Scheffler worked out. So people may try to go Rahm and Rory. And or Scheffler or whatever that is, and then I think JT may be one of the most popular. We'll get to that in a second, and fit go 4 or 7K or find a 6K that you really like and take a chance there, and then fit 3 more. Last week I think 6 of 6 was right around that 4 to 6% mark. So not that a 5 of 6 is what you want, but I envision a 6 of 6 being tough again. Rahm's playing great too. I'm going to go Rory. If we get big ownership by tomorrow night where it's a big gap, maybe I would flip that. I don't think so though. Rahm continuously is high owned. Last week he was higher than I even had. I had a great week ownership wise, and I still didn't give him enough bump. He didn't do anything last week to make you think otherwise. Didn't look great. Didn't finish strong per se, on Sunday, but still a third. His last three are first, seventh, third. But I'm gonna go Rory right now. Not to say I won't play both, but Rory's the one that I think is my favorite. And then my bubble boy Scheffler. I'm just interested to see where the perception on him is. A little bit of good fortunes last week, but you still got to win a tournament. You got to play somewhat well. And last year he won Waste and came here and finished 7th. So it's not like he can't do it again. Finish another top 10. And maybe he gets squeezed right there. Maybe it's Roy Rahm and people go, all right, Scheffler won. That used to be a thing. It's not as much anymore. But I'll get the JT in just a second. Because of the JT thing, I think Scheffler may be the lowest owned of these four. So he's my bubble boy. If he winds up getting, everybody's going to jump on him, maybe I go to Rahm. That's just kind of where I'm at there. But Scheffler's got good finishes here too. 30th, a 20th, and a 7th. He missed back in 2018. I think he may have been AM then. But his stats look great. No, his total game is there. And if he's catching some fire, I definitely don't want to jump off of it. 8K range. The thing about JT, I think, so JT finishes strong, gets a 4th, has probably out of those 4 the most up and down history here. He's got some really good finishes, 9th, 2nd, 6th, but then he's got a 39th miscut. Those are all in the last 6 years. Putting can be an issue from him from time to time. We know that. He struck the ball well last week. He looked good. He finished good. A lot of people had him bet. I think because of him and the price, biggest deal there is, man, I get him the cheapest. And people can convince themselves, which I wouldn't disagree, that, he's got as much upside. So I save some money. And maybe he's the second piece. Maybe it's a Rory JT. So he still gets his love, but people go, I'll just fade Rahm and Scheffler. I'll go Rory JT, or I'll go JT Xander to start out. Those are options, JT Homa. So I think he's right there in ownership. We'll see how see how people talk about this week. He looks good on the stat wise. He's still ranked, the lowest, and he's still top 10 for me, but he's 8th. The other guys are 1st, 3rd, and 5th up here in this price range. So you're splitting hairs there, but that's where I'm at on JT right now. We'll see how that comes about by the time we get to tomorrow night. 8K range, Cam Young, go right back to him. I know he sucked. It sucked. At least he made the cut, but he just didn't look good. But, man, he played so good last year here. This course should be a perfect fit for him. It looked like it was last year. 8,800 actually. Doesn't even get the Tambo Best Buy pricing at 8,900. Hovland gets that, so maybe Hovland gets a little bit of love there. And I think he may, because you go Hovland 4th and a 5th here, even though he didn't finish as strong last week. Hopefully that keeps a little bit off of Young. But I don't think Young will be just too talked up at all. I crushed here last year. I always review my last year's, results and all that. Mainly, number one reason, first thing, go look at the old model, go look at the old articles, and then I want to see, well, did it work? And one of my best weeks last year, or the year. Won the Mayo. I won 4 tickets to the 2222 last year here. It was a great week, and I'm keeping a lot of it the same. And Young was part of that. He finished 2nd. He was cheap last year. I had Neiman, who was 7,600 last year. So, I'm gonna go right back to him, and I hope he just kind of gets overlooked a little bit. And he's around some good enough names that he won't just be that super chalk. So that's the one thing I do like. Spieth's $200 cheaper, and I think Spieth's one of the few guys that he won't ever get to the Tiger bump when we talk about DraftKings, but man, when he's going and people are on him, he gets bumped up pretty high. So I think Young's ownership stays in check because of that. Adam Scott could be potential for some chalk, but man, he likes this place. You read some stuff from last year or any year he's here. $8,000 feels a little cheap, but we hadn't seen him in a little while. Man, 11th, 53rd, 7th, 1st, 38th, 4th. Great history here. And the thing about him is, he's won it, and he got a 4th and a 7th and 11th. But at 8K, he's got 6 straight made cuts here. I need a cut, and where's my upside? And that fits him to a T, right? He putts well here. I like him a lot, but I feel a lot of people will. So I'm interested to see how he falls ownership-wise, but I like him. He's one of my favorite spots of the week. Fitzpatrick. definitely go back there this week. Liked him a lot last week. Played him. Finished 29th. After the miscut, people were a little worried. He was super low owned last week. So he was great leverage. 5th here and a 30th here. This course, to me, fits a Fitzpatrick game, especially the way he's added off the tee. He's 15th in great drives here. He's got all that all-around game that kind of gets stuff done. You know, you saw at the U.S. Open last year. You got a little bit of the luck box. Look at this. You know, I see that here in 8,300. I absolutely love. I love his number at 40-1. He's a strong option for the betting card. I'll have Fitzpatrick this week quite a bit. Bubble Boy is Willie Z. I don't think, unless we get clarity, I don't know if Willie's scheduled to be on the pressers or anything. I hadn't checked in all that. I normally do that tonight. Played great here, 26th and the 15th. Unless people get comfortable, I think everybody's big concern is why didn't he play last week? It's simply, and he was never entered into the event. That was one thing that I was like, well, I care, right? Why would, but you can miss one a year. Maybe when they set that all out, he already had it planned. I'm going to take waste off and the rest I'm in for. That's the least one I want to go to. I have no idea, but it wasn't like he entered it, then withdrew or anything like that. He just never entered it. We'll see. And maybe that just keeps his ownership down. He's 8,700, right? So he's right there in that same range I was talking about with Young and Spieth and Hovland. I don't think he's going to be high owned. And I think he's, overall let's assume he's healthy. He's playing as good a golf as he has when he gets out there. Missed a cut, I think, on the number at Farmers. Can't remember the wave draw he got there. But he's played 2 events, 36 at the Amex. I don't know. Unless I see or hear something that's just crazy, I'm going to be on him at 8,700. Only reason why he's a bubble boy is just kind of see if we get any kind of, why didn't you play last week? If he's in the presser or something like that, I don't know. We'll see. We normally don't, but I like Willie Z. I'll go back to him. 7K range, Patrick Rogers. Man, we talk about him on this pod. He's my love-hate type guy. Didn't have much of him last week. My best lineup I had him in had Noren and Cantley that missed the cut by 1. So that was frustrating, but he's played great here. 22nd, 26th, 15th, 30th, 12th. He did miss the cut last year. A 14th last week with a strong showing on Sunday. I like seeing that. Did he find something? Is he catch a fire? 7K is a super cheap price for a guy that's made this cut 5 out of 6 times. And the best thing about it is he's top 30 or better all 5 of those times he's made the cut. He is a little, we know it with him. When I want to be on him, he tends to, let me down. But he was on a good streak there at the end of the fall, if you guys remember. He treated us well. Missed the cut at Amex and Farmers. Again, I don't put a lot into those tournaments. Mainly this year, especially the wind and draw and situations and weather. He may have been on that horrible side on Farmers. I can't remember. That stuff I will deep dive, but I'm going to play him anyway. 7K, I don't mind Rogers. Fleetwood, not a guy I get on a lot, but hasn't played here since 2019. But 2 top 30, 37th and a 28th, the 2 times he did play here. It seems like this would set up good for him. Miscut last week. Maybe he's a little off the radar. I don't know if he gets popular with the pricing and all that. I still think sub 10% type situation. I don't mind going to Fleetwood. 11th in recent form, 10th in course fit, 14th in putting. Stats are just okay. He's got some, around the green he's great on, 35th in ball striking. But I also like him in an event where 7, 8, 9 under, and this goes for Willie Z too, but I play Willie Z at birdies or better because most people don't. Is like that's his. I like him in where he can shoot 7 under and he's flirting with, top 10, top 15, 8 under gets him in that top 20 or better. And at 7,300, that's great. If I get a top 20 out of him, I'm good at 7,300. I like that. Kitayama, I'm gonna go back there. I know he played horrible when he was there and had a chance to win, but I like how he bounced back this week. He gets the waste management. 23rd after that, falling apart a little bit at Pebble. He fell apart, but he was there, had a chance. He grinded out. He finished. He come back. He plays well. He rates out well for me. 8th in great drives. I love that. 14th around the green. He hasn't played here. That's probably my only one knock. But $7,100. He's a guy that I'll go to, and I think he'll probably be very low owned. Bubble boy for me is Wyndham Clark. He just stands out as the absolute going to be. I think could be the highest owned in the 7K range. Any kind of model I think you run, he's going to be up there. 10th last week, a 17th and an 8th here, and he DQ'd last year. I need to look into what that was, but you know, coming in better and better form each week, a 50th, a 37th, and a 10th the last 3 weeks, with his best being last week, 7th in that great drive category, 5th in good approach, 43rd in putting, which is fine, and the price is good. The only reason why he's bubble boy is I'm afraid that he's going to get steamed up a lot this week. He was owned a little bit last week, but I think it's going to be, could be, you know, kind of like Hostler. I think it was Hostler's last week. I was under on him. I knew he was going to be popular, but I didn't put him up enough. And I think Clark could be there. Only reason bubble boy is that where he looks on paper looks great. Let's just see where the ownership comes in at. 6K range, not a range I think I'm going to be frequent on a lot this week. I like Smalley, grinder type courses. I've always said that. Don't mind going back to him at all. What did he do last? He wouldn't play last week. 3 straight made cuts though. Amex, Farmers, and Pebble. A 72nd here last year, so he's a deep dive star for me to go say what happened last year. Did he have one bad round after he made the cut? Did he just flirt along or skirt along? I don't know. We'll see. Was it all putt? You know, stuff like that. But as it stands right now for 6,900, I don't mind Smalley. S.H. Kim, I've been playing a ton of him recently. It's treated me just fine. Done well. I think he had one miscut in there. Miscut at Amex, but a 20th and a 41st. You know, I just think all the way around, I like him. I've talked, even when he doesn't, he's mid-pack for me, but at $6,700, I like that a lot. Luke List, not a guy I play a lot of, gets really popular at times. I don't think many are on that. He's a boomer bust here, but at 6,800, I don't mind that. So he's made 3 miscuts and 3 top 30s here, including a 15th. So I like that. And then you go look at his recent stats and kind of where he's been. It's kind of been all short game, and I get it. That could happen again this week. But as far as, you know, we know his ball striking, all that's going to be up there with anybody in the field. 25th at Farmers, another course that, you know, could fit him well. So I don't mind going to him at all. I don't think anybody in the 6K range will really be probably over 5%. Similar to last week, probably 8% of everybody was 5% or less. So I like Luke List, probably who I think could be one of the popular ones, and not Bubble Boy is Vegas. I'll still play him. I don't mind him unless I get talked out of it by tomorrow. But a little boom bust again, kind of like List. He's got a 15th, 3 missed cuts. Then he made the cut last year, only finished 55th though. Coming in pretty good form, miscut at Amex, then a 25th and a 23rd. You know, we know he's great off the tee, 8th in par 5 DK scoring, 22nd in ball striking, 34th in good approach. Not the best putting in the field, but that's why I'll go back and look at his deep dive tonight and see what, when he's missed a cut here, was it only putting, things like that, to see where I want to be on him. Now, if he's the 6K guy for everybody, I don't think he will be, but, you know, I probably won't play anybody chalky in the 6K range, but I think everybody's probably, again, most are going to be between that 5%. You may see someone sneak up to that 6 or 7% this week. Fade of the week for me, Morikawa, worked out last week. I'm interested to see how he's one of those where I want to see where people think, you know, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, doing this stuff, everybody bounced off of him, right? I don't think people will, especially with the second place showing last year. So, yeah, he burned a lot of people missing the cut. Helped me. That was one. I mean, it was great. But, and he's made the cut here 3 straight years, 26th, 43rd, second. You know, is he popular again? I don't know. We'll see. I think he still will be, especially he's, you know, priced, you know, 9,300. You can fit him second guy. I don't think there. Well, I guess if you go 3 9s, you probably could. So I think people still go back to him, right? And so that's the one guy I'll go elsewhere all around him of guys I like better. I'm hoping the second place last year really boosted him up a little bit as well. Sleeper of the week for me, Lee Hodges, $6,200. He's ranked 45th for me overall, nothing crazy. He's missed 3 straight cuts. Actually, I think it goes back. He's missed 5 straight cuts. But when you look at the details of it, it hasn't been that far off. And I like that he played here last year and got a 39th. Like, his upside, I think, is good for this course. And we saw last year, right? 39th. For $6,200, if you tell me he's getting a top 40, I mean, he'd be the most popular player, you know, in a lot of spots, because people could go, if you give me a top 40 Lee Hodges, now I for sure can go either 210K or go 39K or 49K in the 60. I mean, there's opens up a lot of possibilities if you're that comfortable. And I don't think anybody's going to be on him, obviously. That's why he's sleeper of the week, because of his recent deal. But again, I'll deep dive him some tonight to see how much I really love him. But just the things I see now, I'm like, I don't hate that at all, especially that price. I'm not going to dip down the 6Ks too much. 39th here last year, enough to stick out for me. I don't mind Hodges at $6,200. Gut feel plays of the week for me. Cam Davis, 7,000. This is truly a gut feel play. We know how much I love him, how much I play him all the time. He's been horrendous the last 2 outs. But before that, man, he's playing so well. He still is going to rate out well. I just don't know how many people are going to click him. He's made the cut here the last 2 years, a 43rd and a 48th. Probably willing to bet. I can go pull it up during the deep dive. He probably outplaced his 43rd and 48th those 2 years as far as DraftKings goes. So I'll be on him this week. I don't think many people will go there when they see his recent stuff. 7K. Because of the 7K price, I'm glad to go back there and get 2X, 3X the field and take my chances there. The next guy is a guy I didn't think I would be playing just because I've kind of avoided him for the most part. But I think I would go to Taylor Montgomery. I'm wondering, he's popular again. My guys I moved off of last week were great. I didn't play Montgomery, didn't play Morikawa, missed the cuts. There are several others. The few guys I needed to get through that were core pieces didn't. We know the putting, but he's 16th in great drives, 21st around the green, 7th in par 5 DK scoring. Now, he's 119th in good approach, 104th in opportunities inside 18 feet. So there's negatives there, but if we're finally going to get a good price, 7,600, and a lower owned, even if he's like 8, 9, 10% type deal, I don't mind him, especially like a pivot off of Clark this week. If Clark's going to get everything $200 more, I'll go to Montgomery. Cage Lee, $7,400. Doesn't scream him, but he's done well here. 4 straight made cuts, a 25th, a 13th, a 66th, and a 26th. So really, at that price and that history here, that's enough for me to play some Cage Lee this week. Dietrich, I believe it's technically. Great off the tee. We know that. Good form, 26th, 37th, 37th coming in. He has never played here. That'd probably be the one negative. But everything else I like about him, $7,100. Again, gut feel play. So, there's going to be some question marks on any of those guys. Top 5 betting and two long shots. Links in the description, Underdog and Prize Picks. Dollar for dollar match. Use code GUP up to $100. Great stuff last week by both of them. Put a lot of stuff for the Super Bowl. Underdog has their majors up now. Best balls. Still waiting on that before I dive completely into it because I think a lot of strategies are going to be had with those. But they are up. They're going to be fun. Their weekly stuff was huge last week. I hadn't seen this week's yet. I expect it to be good again. Price Picks. I give out my Price Picks tomorrow and then every night with any bets. Same with bets last week. It was a little harder because when you get that mid-round stuff rolling over the night, it makes it a little bit harder, but we'll be geared up and ready to go on both of those. Both great partners for us. Use that code GUP. Link is in the description. Top 5 for me. Young, 33. Willie Z, 38. Cantley, 30. Fitz, 40. Scott, 40. 2 long shots, Kitayama 150, Patrick Rogers 150. Those are guys that are on my short list to potentially make the card, official card for the week. 1 and 5 or 1 and done, real similar to my betting right now. Young, Willie Z, Cantley, Fitz, and Rory are the 5 that I'm looking at currently. I'll list my final 5 tomorrow on the final thoughts as well. Don't forget, join us tomorrow night, E9, Kenny, Kim, and I, live chat, premium members only. Use that code SMASH, 20% off. Get 7-day risk-free trial. Come check out an E9 with me and Kenny. Always a good time, and there's always a lot to be learning those. It's a good, you digested everything, you get all your stuff, and you get to talk about it, especially these big events. I look forward to that as well. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. I'll have this out around lunchtime, and then be back tonight. Well, tonight I have all the stuff I normally have out, and then we'll be back tomorrow for the final thoughts and E9 show. Have a good Tuesday. We'll talk to you soon.